right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We don't have a quorum proper yet, but we do want to get started. So what we'll do is we'll have Mrs. Desai come up and introduce the showcase, and we'll do that, and then we'll get everyone to go home and do homework. All the students can go home and do their homework, right? Yes? So, Mrs. Desai, the floor is yours.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for coming out. And we are very, very excited to have a science showcase for you. As you know, the district purchased some new science curriculum materials, and we have some updated science curriculum standards. So we have the whole spectrum. First grade students are going to do a demonstration for sound, and fifth grade students are going to do a demonstration on optical space attack. So Mrs. Shorey and Mrs. Faganella have done an amazing job of working with students, and they're good.
When something vibrates, it moves fast. The rice moves and it jumps because of the sound waves.
So they're going to show you so you can see the sound, and there's some rice on top of the saran. Go as close as you can. The rice was jumping for them.
When you put the rubber bands on, there's one small one and one big one, and they both make different noises.
What does it make?
It makes the sound because it vibrates.
What's next? This one? They're going to use two different types of tuning forks. So what do you figure out?
The big one makes more splashes than the little one, and the little one makes little splashes than the big one.
So when you did the ripples, what was that showing us?
The big one was showing much more than this one.
Did you do all the experiments? Nice job.
So we have fifth graders here. We have Aubrey and Scarlett, and this is a lesson that came from our new curriculum on testing the properties of matter. So they're going to walk you through their investigations.
Our investigation is called Testing Matters and Properties. Do you think each of the solid materials will interact in the same, interact the same way with each of the liquids. My prediction is that I think the solids will interact differently with the liquids because they have different properties. In this cup, I have 5 grams of baking soda, and in this cup, I have 5 grams of baking powder. In these 2 cylinders, I had 20 milliliters of iodine solution. In these 2 cylinders, I have 20 milliliters of vinegar. I will now combine the vinegar into each solid and will closely watch for the reaction. In class, we record our observation in the group. I will now combine the iodine solution into each solid and we will watch closely for a reaction. In class, we recorded our observations in a data table. The reactions were different with each solid and liquid combination. We know that a chemical reaction occurred because we saw bubbles and change of color and heard a fizzing sound. I know.
And I had made this poster here just to kind of highlight at our curriculum night that the program follows a 5E model, which is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So it really gets the kids from all grade levels doing science, using tools, making sure they know how to measure and use tools appropriately. So this is right now in all of our grades from K to 5.
Mrs. Shirley and Mrs. Spagnola, so those materials all came with the science curriculum, correct?
Yes.
Right,
Most of it, I went and took these bowls so they could see.
Yeah.
Because when we do it, it's usually in a small group and they would use maybe that can, but just for audience purposes.
But it was
Yes,
like
we
that
have-
all those
we
big
have
things,
supplies,
all of
yep.
the different materials.
Yes, and
Yes,
the 5th grade kit came with all new balance scales. So in class, they had to measure the 5 grams with the scale. But for presentation purposes, we just made sure we had 5. Yeah.
So girls, are you enjoying doing the experiments in class and working with all the materials for your science experiments?
Yeah.
Excellent. You did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
First graders,
Thank you for letting us share.
you did a great job. Thank you so much.
Good job.
I did see him. And Dan was... been replaced by a small box.
Refrain from comment.
Thanks.
Can you hear us now?
I'm not sure. Anthony, is Dan all set, or do you need to dial in?
Dan?
Dan, can you hear us?
Dan, are you there?
Oh, Dan, can you hear us?
Sorry, folks, we'll just be a minute here. Dan's going to participate remotely, so. I guess in the meantime, I can call the meeting to order at 6:42 p.m. Those attending tonight's meeting should be aware that the meeting is being audio-video recorded by APAC and ASRSD. Any audience members who wish to record any part of the meeting must inform the chair, who will announce the recording. This is to comply with the MA wiretap statute. Listings of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. I will also say that Mr. Gleason is joining us remotely this evening. He did have a small medical procedure today, so he will be participating. However, he will not be voting on any matters that do require a vote this evening. So with that, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you. All right. Roll call, Ms. Reschutz.
Joyce Reschutz here.
Ms. Granger.
Here.
I'm Jonathan DeForge here. Ms. Simmons.
Here.
Mr. Quinty.
Present.
Mr. Gleason to be here. You're calling him back? Oh,
There we go.
Hi, Dan.
all right. Dan Gleason, here? Thank you. All right, is there any,
Dan, can you see the presentation?
Dan?
Yes.
Can you see the presentation?
No.
No? Okay, hang on one second.
all right.
Hold on a second. We did have Skype video up.
We can't see it.
You might see me, you might see the presentation. One of the two.
There it is, yes, I see it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Anthony, appreciate it. Any public participation this evening on any items on the agenda? None, all right. Next, we have our consent agenda. This evening's consent agenda includes regular session minutes from December 19th, 2018 for release, approval of warrants, and then approval of 2 donations from Life Touch. This is a commission that each elementary school gets for student pictures. So with that, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I think it'd be good if you had the amounts of the donations. I think that's only proper that those are
Right.
by voice.
So for Laura White School, we have a donation of $1,136.41. From Page Hilltop, for Page Hilltop, we have a donation of $1,623. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Mr. Gleason is abstaining. All right. New business. Mr. Christie, you have the program of study for the high school, please.
Hi.
Hey, hey.
Thank you for having us tonight. There are a few really exciting additions to our program of study that I'd like to talk a little bit about. First, I'd like to welcome tonight both Mr. Kendall, head of the PE department, as well as Mr. Whitmore, head of our science department here. And standing beside me is Ms. Escalona, who's head of our guidance department. So a few things that we're introducing this year that I think are really exciting. We're introducing a new pathway to the high school. That's the early childhood pathway. This is for students who are interested in pursuing a career in early childhood to allow them to take a few courses with Mount Wachusett Community College, specifically in their junior year, and then looking at some practical hours in their senior year to get them some real-world experience in working with childcare. We think that this is going to be a popular pathway for us, and it's really exciting. If you look down the program of studies into the physical education part, what you'll notice is a fairly radical redesign of the way in which we're approaching physical education. The most exciting part of this, to me, and I know to Mr. Kendall, has been the addition of Unified. So both Unified Physical Education and Unified Wellness. As a high school, we're really looking for a larger spirit of inclusivity within our school, and beyond bringing our own version of Best Buddies, which we're calling Panther Pals, as well as both unified track and unified basketball to the school, this includes Unified Medical Classroom, which has our students with special needs working with our non-cognitively impaired students. Mr. Kendall, I want to publicly thank you for really looking at this course of study for us, and invite you to talk just a little bit about your vision behind this.
Sure.
If you can come up to the podium, please, Mr. Kendall, if the school can documentation of being in the curriculum study.
So the main goal behind bringing these programs in for physical education is it's a great way to bring students with and without disabilities together in a classroom setting, creating a model of inclusion in a physical setting. Also in the classroom setting with wellness, the wellness class will focus in on disabilities, disease, health, other health-related items, staying fit. We might even bring a couple guest speakers from some of the various gyms in the area that will come in and talk about those topics with both the students with disabilities and without disabilities. They'll be partnered, so they'll be working together. In addition to being educated together, the goal is that it'll help foster one-on-one friendships and create a little bit more inclusivity within the school, which I think we do a pretty good job with now, but it could be even better, which is one of the goals of the unified programs. And the goal would be to bring in the FLAC program as well. Talking with them about possibly bringing them in to be with our phys ed program since they're in our building, getting them involved a little bit more as well. So, I guess I have any questions.
So in your presentation here, so what's crossed out is what we had before?
Correct. Yep, and so we put everything in red that's a change. What's crossed out is what we've had before. What's in red and not crossed out is what we're adding for this year.
So some of those things from the previous courses, integrated and some of the others?
Correct.
Some of the subjects?
Yes. Specifically if we're talking about health and physical education, what you'll notice is we morphed some of our courses. So we had alternate physical education, but we really feel that moving forward, the unified physical education will take up a large percentage of the student population that used to include, and really moves us in a direction, again, of more inclusivity in the classroom. And really, we believe it will attract students that maybe haven't been attracted to various aspects of physical education in the past.
The other part that's similar to that will be the lifetime activities course, which will also incorporate some of the elements of the all PE course, but also giving them kind of a broader spectrum there to give the teachers and the students more choice of what they could do during that class period. So we're looking at doing things. When we were designing the programs at PE, one of the first things they did when I met with the PD department was talk about where they wanted to go, where they saw the department going. We talked a lot about how there's been a big focus on team sports and physical education in the last decade or 2 decades. And despite the fact that only about 5% of the population plays a team sport once they get out of high school. So our goal this year in designing these courses, whether it was the lifetime activities or the unified or the RAD personal safety courses, was to try to offer opportunities for physical education that would be more appropriate for our student body after they leave the high school setting, more 21st century type skills in the fields of wellness and physical education. So we are incorporating some of the elements of the other ones. There's still a team sports option for those kids who love that traditional model. There's still the other options for kids who prefer that alternative PE. It was just to try to create a few more options, a wider base to choose from. Take one half-year PE course each year.
So for us, one period is 79 minutes every other day. And because we're on an every other day schedule, it's an A or B day. So students could say take, it would be 2 to 3 times a week for 79 minutes, and that's going to alternate week to week. Some days, some weeks they'll have, yes, correct. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Quinty.
So the fact that how were students who are challenged with disabilities meeting key requirements, or how are they involved in that?
So oftentimes they would come up on when they had scheduled time in the gym. The flat class would come up and our life skills class would come up, and they would work with their aides. Nate Diffin, who's one of the aides, would work with them often. Mark Justo, one of our PE teachers, would be in there working with them, or Lindsay Delakiai, or myself would be in there working with them. This would give them far more opportunity to have a more scheduled PE time, which is both good and challenging for them. It's challenging because some of the kids are out of the building sometimes at job sites. Sometimes they're getting OT or PT services. But this also could make it easier for them to schedule those where it wouldn't be a conflict. So the hope is that it'll create an easier schedule for them to be able to receive their PE services.
And one of the other really nice components of this is a student leadership component, where students can now take a more active role in helping to lead the PE class. I think we both love this in a number of ways, in that it allows students to take a firmer grasp, control of how they can lead their education, and start to plan for other students and model leadership opportunities.
On the fitness one and the fitness two, that would be in our weight room that we have?
Yep, be in the weight room and outside too in the spring and the fall when the weather was nice. We can get outside, we can work out and do fitness activities outside. Fitness one is designed more for 9th and 10th grade, although we'd never turn away an 11th or 12th grader who hadn't taken it yet. Whereas Fitness 2 is more designed for the kids who've taken Fitness 1. Fitness 2 would be more where they would start learning how to design their own programming and testing it and seeing how it worked. So maybe the first 8 weeks they spend some time on a program that they designed themselves and track the results, and then reevaluate after 8 weeks and the next 8 weeks, try a different program or tweak their program and see how it worked. And at the end, make a presentation to the phys ed teacher which way that they thought will work better and why. Explain kind of why.
Do you mind mentioning the new addition we have in the fitness room, the bike?
Yes, thanks to ASF who bought three bikes for us, and then the phys ed department bought an additional 3 bikes. We have 6 new spin bikes in the classroom, which is a nice addition to our all PE class, and will be also a nice addition to our lifetime fitness class for next year, as well as the unified classes. So we thank them for that. They also donated some medicine balls and a battle rope, which was for the track program, but will also be utilized by the phys ed program as well. So we thank them for that, and that's been a nice addition. The kids have been in there using it pretty much constantly since we've got them, so it's a real nice addition. They've enjoyed it.
The kids and the staff.
And the staff too, yes. Staff's been
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Does faculty sign up for Fitness 1 or Fitness 2?
If they can fit in their schedule, we'd love to have them. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Fitness classes.
That's a nice weight room.
So in a typical year, let's say in 9th grade, we really have a wellness segment and then also a fitness at the same time.
Depends on their schedule. It could possibly be where they have wellness in the first semester and fitness in the first semester. It could also be where they have wellness first semester and fitness second semester. It depends on how their schedule works with their other courses.
So the students are having a physical activity.
So one of the nice things that we've added this year, and actually we just changed over recently, has been Panther Block. So Panther Block alone has a number of opportunities for students to receive physical exercise during the middle of the day. There's a resistance weightlifting course that actually just began today with Mr. Lamoureux. The courses are exciting, they're popular, and they range as far as what students can choose to do. And they range from artistic exercises. So right now we have 2 teachers looking at art exploration. We have a teacher who's doing an album of the week course, each week going through and looking at a historically relevant album. This would be music generally from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. To physical exercise. Every Tuesday and Thursday in here, we actually have a yoga class. So really a wonderful wide range of opportunities for students to meet their individual needs. Included in those are also a series of support courses for students that are struggling in a number of areas, and enrichment courses in a number of AP courses and otherwise. So Mr. Whitmore, who's here, I know teaches both one support course and one enrichment course for AP, both which are very popular.
The students have access to the fitness room anytime the school is open, after hours, Saturdays, or other things.
As long as there is an adult present, they have access to the fitness room pretty much all times. One of the things that you'll see in my budget presentation is trying to get a weight room supervisor for after school, for the immediate hour to hour and a half right after school. Someone who's dedicated to that. I mean, I'm in there whenever I can, but obviously, as you know, there's soccer games, basketball games. Sometimes I can't be in there. And then Mr. Diffin's in there when he can be in there as well, but the coaches when they can be. But
It was funny, in the beginning of the winter season, when we did a lot of like all these Saturday basketball, gym, when you say adult, you mean staff member or like if a parent is there and
volunteers could be arranged. We'd have to, obviously, go through the Corey process and all that. But yes, volunteers could be used as well. Absolutely. As long as the building's open, we can make that available. As long as we have someone in there, staff watching, making. We don't want anyone lifting weights in there by themselves, obviously. So.
But Mr. Quinty, if you're interested, please talk to me afterwards, and be happy to sign you up.
But we think it's an exciting program, some nice changes that'll, I think, create some excitement. We've been kind of implementing them slowly this year just to see how the kids will react, especially with the Project Adventure and the rock wall and the flying squirrel stuff that we have in there. And there's been a real positive reaction to that so far with Mr. Lamoureux, and he'll be doing some training with us and going through Project Adventure training for phys ed teachers so we can incorporate even more of that in the future.
Just can't get rid of it, can you? Just keep coming back.
We don't want to. We like having him around.
I'll tell you, he's been fantastic,
Yes.
stepping right back in, creating a sense of excitement. Last week we had a group of students that wanted to start a yo-yo club because they'd been working with Mr. Lamoureux and had seen the many tricks he has. So he really is a jack of all trades.
Explains the yo-yos in the office. I was wondering why there are yo-yos in the PE office.
Is there anything else? I know the gym fitness stuff was sort of the big overhaul. Is there any other courses that you want to highlight, or any other topics you want to highlight?
So there are clearly some topics that we've done a little bit of work on. I think we've done a nice job of clarifying some courses. So in our math curriculum, we have pre-calculus, which used to be just pre-calculus honors. We're now calling it pre-calculus with derivatives honors. Again, I think it more clearly specifies exactly what's happening within that course. We're talking to Mr. Sutton about truth in advertising. So letting students know exactly what they're going to be hitting as they enter a course. We also have some exciting additions to our music curriculum. So Mr. Ketterer has put in both a guitar 2 as well as a Piano 1 and 2 course that we're adding to the curriculum. Again, exciting new musical options. We know that students are looking to continue their musical education while at school. And Mr. Ketterer has been absolutely fantastic about working with students to try to continue to increase their skill. His 2 Panther blocks this term, which I realize are not program of studies, but are still things being taught at the high school. One is a creation of a school song. So for as long as Air Shirley has been a school, we do not have a school song. Mr. Ketterer is working with students who have taken musical theory in the past and are working to create a basic piano line as well as 4-part harmonies for a school song. He's also started a glee club during Panther Block, which is really a nice, wonderful opportunity for us students who love to sing, getting the chance to participate during a half hour every other day.
Any other questions?
Science department looks quite a few changes.
It did. Mr. Woodmore, do you want to talk a little bit about the science curriculum?
Well, the only major changes in the science curriculum are the elimination of 2 courses that we used to teach, microbiology and bioethics. In essence, Ms. Lois doesn't know a change in determination.
No, it's not up to me.
The 2 courses that we eliminated were not too well populated to begin with. And the teacher that used to teach them is no longer here, Ms. Chisholm. The biology teachers we have are not well versed in those subjects, and those courses were going to need to be updated significantly anyway. So we decided to eliminate them for next year, and then over the course of next year, possibly talk about maybe a few new courses that we may add for the year after. Yeah, we're talking about adding in environmental science honors, and possibly some sort of
an environmental science honors course
in addition to the college prep, and possibly a biotechnology course.
And so the biotechnology course is actually, it's again very exciting. It's looking at a partnership with Mount Wachusett Community College. Both Mr. Moore and Ms. Melanson are currently going through the process of looking at becoming adjunct professors through there. So there would be no need to bring in an additional instructor for that course. We would have them in-house. But again, strengthens our collaboration, our collaborative efforts with Mount Wachusett. And as we add more and more courses, I believe we're getting students stronger and stronger as they prepare to head off to the world beyond high school. Yes?
Well, actually looking at possible science courses going into we're recording eventually talking about visits for poets. So there are a lot of math and science going people. So this is a course that explains physical property for me and the things really interesting. You can do a lot of really cool experiments on river like dying to show physical property. As long as you don't have to do proofs, you can explain why things work and demystify a lot of things. And many of the students that were in there were much more confident at the end. It's done on a pass-fail basis. Like I said, there was not a lot of theory involved. Mostly a hands-on thing. By the end of the course, every single person in there was thrilled.
That sounds wonderful.
That would probably be similar to the old introductory to physical science class that we used to have before biology was in 9th grade.
Mr. Quinto, are you interested in a Panther block? Or what's something? Yeah, that would be great.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So where you took out Latin 1.
Yes.
We still have Latin 2.
We do. So.
We have enough people that don't go to the virtual courses, so you don't need
So here's what we had. We don't have anyone that's able to teach Latin 1 physically. We don't have any staff members that are versed in it. So we are looking at phasing out our Latin program. Again, our numbers have been dwindling. Our students have really been, I would say, struggling with the online component. And so we're looking where we can be successful and successful in person for students.
So is that last division like this, or has somebody who's already started?
Correct. We feel like that would be inappropriate for students that have already begun Latin 1 to eliminate the option. For our students, they have a 2-year requirement in the same language, and this would allow those students to continue on in their second year. We do.
And how many students do we feel that we have, if we're going to be populated? Have, of course, populated so that we have it. What is the number we're looking for?
To have a course populated, we look for generally at least 10. There are some courses that we're running with fewer numbers as we try to grow them. But generally 10 is, I think, a fairly decent size. Leak you.
The APAC course?
Yes, so we're additionally
Page
adding
33.
an internship in APAC. So this is going to give our students the opportunity to work alongside already well-respected, fantastic business organization that we have in the building. Mr. Kurland has been wonderful to work with for us, and so we're again looking to strengthen our ties with a local business.
So I believe when those of you were at the beginning of renovating this high school, that was the vision, to bring the APAC studio into the high school so that it would be integrated into the high school curriculum. So we have a new executive director, Scott Ferland, and he is excellent. I've been working on some videos with him, and he's very energetic, and he has an intern that's going to also help him. So hopefully we'll get more students following that track if that's what they're interested in.
It's really good to see that, a lot of these classes are, and you touched on it in the fitness section, they're life skills, sort of beyond, what can you use beyond high school? That's awesome. Really think about sort of that as your end game, but that's sort of the goal, and you're driving the courses towards that.
Thank you. Again, we have I think, a phenomenal faculty here that has really helped to drive the vision of the school. Knowing that keeping in mind students will unfortunately leave us at some point, and we want to give them the skills to be able to be successful in whatever they choose post-graduation. So really, my hat's off to them, because they're great leaders and wonderful teachers.
I have a question as to how this gets rolled out to students. Because for us looking at it, neurology, these are red, we know right away what's different and what's exciting coming down the pike. But how does it get rolled out to students? Is there assembly or presentation? Is it a sheet of paper that they get with all the new petitions? Or how does it generate the most?
So that's a wonderful question, and actually something we spent considerable time today talking about, how best to communicate this to students. So as students are looking to sign up for new courses, both Ms. Esalonis and Ms. Sweetland sat down and talked with Dr. Meyer and me today about the best ways to let students know about the new exciting opportunities that we have and ways to populate the courses with students that are interested in taking what we have to offer. At this point, I think we have a really wide range of courses that fit both student interest and ability. And this allows for students to find success in a variety of opportunities. So now comes the hard part of finding ways to make sure that students know about everything we have. So yeah, great question. We're debating that at 10 o'clock this morning.
Once it got to about the sophomore year, pretty well set for the implementation. For the last 2 years, it was suddenly decided for the change year. In other words, when did it need to declare the meeting? Sophomore year of college?
Yeah. Hey, it's a great point. I think students have a certain number of courses that they have to take in order to meet graduation requirements. But one of the really nice parts of our schedule is that it allows for a good amount of flexibility. So should a student, their sophomore, junior, even senior year, really just discover a love and passion for something, I think we have the coursework and the flexibility to allow them to take a certain amount of classes and to really build up both their skill level and a love of each subject as they move forward. So I think what we're seeing from a lot of juniors and seniors is the ability to stretch themselves beyond what they thought possible.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe thinking about other else. We didn't have any principles in engineering before, or was it just rewritten?
So a lot of it is rewritten.
Yeah, the courses existed for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. But Mr. Tully in the science department revamped the description, so we'll let you do that.
Yeah.
There's the 50 MCAS standards as well as the new NGSS standards. Next generation science standards.
Thank you, Mr. Tully.
When do you see that the students sign up?
So we're about to head into, I think it's tonight actually.
It's done.
We rolled
Next year
over
is done.
into next year's Reddicker selection. So we have begun Friday and Monday.
We're hoping. We're going to see what I get done in the next couple of days.
With the middle school already starting to roll up the process of having course recommendations, where students are meeting with teachers, starting to have the conversations about appropriate course levels for next year. So those will be ongoing basically from here and for a while. Absolutely. Yes.
Do you see the hair just
She's going to end up with all these things.
So, I mean, we've got to, go along the continuum. So just this evening, they rolled out next year's database, which there are things we need to do to update that and make it ready to accept the teacher recommendations, the student requests, the parent overrides, and all of that. So it's coming.
So I'm sure there'll be a notice sent home to parents informing them the registration period opens and sharing the program of study with parents as well as with students so parents can work with their children. We have pathways in the front that we've been adding each year that students are interested in a particular track. The suggested course selection is there for those students. And we think that, or we believe that at the end when they graduate, the transcript is much stronger when they're applying to a higher ed. So, as Mr. Spencer mentioned, we just added the early childhood component, thing that we've had a preschool, kindergarten on this campus for many, many years. Yes, yes. Yes, the practicum will be, yes, yes. And Mrs. Phillip Brown started a collaboration with Mrs. Francis, a grade 1 classroom this year. And I went in one day, and several of the high school students were so excited to be in that classroom, and a couple of them were going into early childhood when they left. So I asked them about this, and if they'd be interested, so they are. So I think that will be exciting for kids as well, particularly where maybe we'll see that preschool is mandatory. Free preschool for all kids, right?
And I'll tell you, every time we have the first grade class come to visit the high school, we see the smiling faces of the first graders, but I think it pales in comparison to the smiling faces of every high schooler as they relive that stage in life watching the first graders walk through our hallways. So big thank you to Ms. France for bringing her class over and allowing them to get a glimpse of what their future will be.
Yeah, and there's a short video of that class actually on the blog. I'll just scroll down and see it.
So with the NEOS process, we are currently gearing up for our collaborative conference, which will take place April 23rd and 24th of this year. That puts us 2 years out from our decennial visit. But this is a nice way of them coming in, seeing what we have happening at the high school. Our faculty is currently working extremely hard on preparing the report to be ready for their visit so that we can show them all the wonderful things that we're currently doing. But the full accreditation visit is in 2 years. This is a smaller less formal, feedback gathering session. Yeah.
Any other questions on the program study?
Question, but a comment, I just want to say it every year, but first knowledge, yes, it's really impressive to see what we offer and variety and what kids are exposed to is really exciting. So thanks to all that you put in and
Thank you.
Chairman, I move that we approve the ASRSD Digital High School Program Study for 2019-2020.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Again, thank you very much for all your hard work, everyone.
Thank you.
And all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, very good. Thank you all again. All right. Moving on. Dr. Malone, you have a presentation for us this evening.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're here to present my fifth budget, I believe. If you look at the agenda, Mr. Plunkett and I will be doing the presentation. You've had the budget, the FY20 preliminary budget for over a week, so hopefully if you have any questions, I will be able to answer them for you. We also have some of our directors here with us this evening. From special education, we have Mrs. Sarah Bozak, and from the food service, we have Mrs. Susan Parker. From facilities, we have Director Mr. Robert Briggs. And from the athletic program, we have Mr. Steve Kendall. And we appreciate them being here. Mrs. Rayshus had asked if they would do some presentations in their department, and they have provided in the drive and in your packets a one-page overview of some of the highlights in the departments and some of the budget explanations. Mr. Briggs gave you a long laundry list of a lot of the work that's been done in all four schools since we started school, which is just amazing. Really appreciate all that work. So as Mr. Plunkett and I do the budget presentation, they're here to answer any questions if you have a particular question about that department. Okay? So of course this goes along with the budget that you have. Let's see, this is on one. You might have to sit. So our district vision, we are actually going to begin the process. I see Mrs. Quinty in our audience tonight. She's going to be part of a core group of district strategic improvement planning. And we're going to begin our planning with reimagining the district. Shouldn't be telling her ahead of time what we're going to be doing tomorrow. But so our district vision, we wrote this with a lot of stakeholders when I entered the district many years ago, and our goal is academic excellence, which will remain our goal for every single student here in the district. What does academic excellence look like? That looks like students performing at their highest potential, passing the state assessment, and graduating from high school, and being ready for the world of work or college without remediation. Setting ambitious academic and personal goals, education and being in charge of one's education, giving students autonomy to guide them in setting their own personal goals and academic goals, because that's how you reach a milestone, is to have a goal, and with that goal you develop a pathway. And of course, be prepared for college and the world of work. The agenda tonight, we're going to go over the FY20 budget, provide you the assessments for the towns, and take questions. We'll start with the first slide on district student enrollment. FY15 to FY19, I've presented this slide every year. The slide shows you the district enrollment and the numbers beginning with FY15. So if you roll over the column that says the change from FY15 to FY19, we have 55 more students. Projected for FY20, we're looking at 1,782 students, which will be another increase. We have a very large 8th grade class of 140 students, so we're very excited about that. And then if you include our district students, at this time we have 33. In FY15 we had 38. So that's a significant reduction, and again, that reduction isn't based on that we don't want to meet the needs of students. That reduction is based on being able to provide those needs for those special ed students here in the district with our continuum services. You're going to see in the budget later on, right now we only have one student in a residential placement. All of the other students are in day placements, so that's pretty good. Going through the charter numbers, since FY15 through this year, go over to the last column, we're down 10. Apologize that I don't have a pointer. For Shirley, so air that was down 10, and Shirley, we're down 14 since FY15. And then the district as a whole, we're down 32 students, starting with 98 students being enrolled in the charter school in FY15, down to 66 students in FY19. Neshoba Tech, I always want to preempt my comment about the technical high school, that there are certain students that are fitted to go to the vocational, and we certainly want students to follow a path that best suits them, best suits their needs. I always say I just do not want students to choose a charter school or a vocational school because they think they cannot get an excellent education here in the Shirley Regional School District. So the Neshoba Tech numbers for year, since from FY15 to FY19, we're down 5 students, 54 to 49, and in Shirley we're down 26, from 76 to 50. And for the district as a whole, we're down 31 from 130 in FY15 to 99 in FY19. And our choice numbers remain pretty stable. In FY15, we had 133 students going out. We're down to 112, and that's a change of a decrease of 21 students. And then our choice in students were up 9. So in FY15, we had 119, and right now we have 128 that are choosing to come to the district. Enrollment in special education. The yellow, which will hit you first, is the state. They have not posted some of their data yet, which is really pretty late. So we don't have the state average for FY19. But you can see one of the highlights of this slide is in FY15, we had 22.2% of our students being identified as special education students needing specialized services. And in FY19, we reduced that number to 17.2, which is more in line with the state average, which was 17.7 in FY18. And again, it's not because we're denying student services or not identifying students. We thought perhaps maybe we were over-identifying students. So I think that's a pretty good statistic there. And the district I already talked about. And so right now we have 336 of our 338 of our total population of around 1,800 receiving special education. And if you look at the district on that slide, sorry, go back 1 second, please. Special education students in out-of-district placements, 2.2% FY15 and FY19, 1.9, and then for FY20, 1.8%. So that's a compliment to our teachers, to our faculty, to the good job they're doing in the classroom, and to the district as a whole. We all know that students thrive in their own schools, in their own neighborhoods, with their families and friends in their communities. So that's where we want to see them. The cost of special education, which is the next, English enrollment for English language, we've held pretty steady here with our numbers. Since I came here, right now we're about, I think we're like 64 students that we have in the English language program. Our beginner program is at the Page Hilltop. Those are students who are in the first few years of learning English. And so when a student, because we have 2 elementary schools, when a student is identified as a beginner in the English learner program, they will be transported over to the Page Hilltop to receive those services. It's because they require more time for English language development. And I'd probably be preemptive, but I will announce that we're going under a tiered progress monitoring review and a coordinated review, and we got a verbal report today that in our English language department we have no corrective actions. So I'll share that good news. Special education out of district costs, I mean, Tara's here, Tara, anything you'd like to say? It looks like for FY '20, we're going to be 8.7%, we're down slightly from FY '19 for those costs. And could you explain, so every year they automatically, those out-of-district costs go up, what is it, 5%?
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 13%.
Yeah, they automatically just raise their costs, and the increased costs are borne by the districts, period. I share these next two slides with you. Again, I'll thank Mr. Quinty and Mr. DeForge and Mr. Gleason and Mrs. Simmons when we had that presentation at Taylor Force City, where districts from around Leominster, Fitchburg, Shirley, Clinton, all of the superintendents we gathered for a presentation in the quest to urge and encourage the state, the governor, to fix the funding formula problem that we have, being underfunded for many years. So these are the two slides of Shirley. So this says the three main pieces are health insurance, special education, and English learners. And so you can see that, and this is FY17. So in FY17, for health insurance, we had a gap of $2.1 million. The foundation budget provided us $1.7 million, and we actually spent $3.8 million on health insurance in the district. If you look over at the next bar, special education, foundation budget provided us $1.9 million, and we actually spent $6 million. So there was a gap of 4.1, total gap of 6.2 million in the FY17 budget from the foundation budget to what we actually spent. Do you want to add anything about that, Mr. Plunkett?
No, just that it shows the gap between the foundation budget, which the governor is trying to address with the budget that just came out. He's got a phase-in bill that's going to phase it in over 5 years until 2026.
And I will bring your attention to, under Shirley, what we've done to mitigate those costs, thanks to the ASRA, the teachers agreeing to changing health insurance plans and prescription drug coverages, increased health insurance co-pays and deductibles, creating the continuum of SPED programs in the district, keeping more students in district, able to reduce out-of-district placements, referrals to collaborative placements versus private day, something Mrs. Bozak has undertaken. And then we've done a good amount of training for teachers and paraprofessionals in applied behavioral analysis. One of the things that we're seeing in our preschool enrollments in children is an increase of students being identified in the ASD program. And many districts are seeing the same. The next slide on this foundation budget gaps just shows the spending. So if you look at teacher professional development, we received about $300,000 from the foundation budget. You want to talk about this slide now? Spending. So what happens is when the foundation budget allows you only so much money, and all districts show this, you have to reallocate it to where you have to pay for what your needs are.
So this slide shows that we're underspending for instructional materials and teacher PD compared to the foundation budget. We're spending less. So we can allocate resources to special education teachers and paraprofessionals. You can see we're spending way above what the foundation budget allows for, which is one of the inadequacies in the whole calculation.
So the right column, if you look at special education aides, the current formula provided us 8, we have 20. The second bar graph, special education teachers, the foundation budget provided for 12, we have 40. At non-special education aides, we have less. We have 8 in the foundation budget because it's the reallocation of those funds. And then non-special education teachers, the current formula provided us 114, that's a regular ed, we had 89. So I think those are some remarkable statistics that I think are worthy of public awareness and consumption. Sure.
I think it's important for people to know that the formula for the foundation budget hasn't changed in 27 years.
Yeah, since 1993.
Yeah.
Since education reform here.
And I think just to add on to that, this is not unique here. Surely every district that presented that night, Pittsburgh and most districts around,
this is what they're seeing. It's just their numbers are bigger or smaller depending on the district. I mean, Framingham's health insurance bill is the size of our budget, so that's just some of that. But it's all very general. That is what you're seeing stable.
And I have the full presentation, so if anybody would like to receive it, just email me, and I will be happy to share it with you.
I think the governor's part of your plan is not to do the full funding that the committee recommended. Because we get, the study committee went on for about 3.5 years. And they came up with what they thought the full funding was going to be. The governor's plan makes great inroads across that. We've talked about it for a long time, how inadequate it was. They finally have a study and those studies to be first on that. So the governor's budget doesn't get all the way there. The industry will see what the hospital is doing.
Right, so the Foundation Budget Review Commission is what you're referring to, that did all that work and knew there was critical inequity, if you will, too, in the whole formula. And you're going to see when we get into our budget that we didn't, even with the governor's budget, we didn't really make out our difference. Really didn't, so you'll see that.
Dr. Mulvey, on address something.
Sure.
Thank you.
You put that staffing thing up there, but that's what we expect to see, if we're not doing anything else. Then we would have that staffing, Sarah. That would be actually less expenditures than if we were sending them out. So while that number's up there, it's not real, it's really a positive number compared to what they're recommending in negative number.
Well, true. This was in FY17, so...
It's extremely negative.
So we're talking 2 years ago, though. This isn't current, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I think Dan...
Jonathan?
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Before Joyce made that comment, I was actually going to suggest when we speak to the town leaders, they need to understand that this top two parts of the staffing, where it may look like we're overstaffed, and that's something we're choosing to do. It's not, because it's a lot of driven by mandate, right? So based on the students we have in their needs, we're mandated to have teachers with special skills or aides that can assist on a one-on-one basis or whatever. And so that's not a positive thing at all. We're spending more than the formula says on special education because of the mandates. That's why the formula is short on special education. So that's not a positive number at all.
Right, so the foundation budget, the current formula does not provide for the actual students and needs that you have in your district. That's why the formula is flawed. Because we could actually have more staff in areas as well. So it's just like, analogy could be, all districts across the Commonwealth struggle with substitute teachers. And we hear back from the teachers, they're pulling up paraprofessional, but we cannot leave a classroom without a teacher. Someone has got to be in that classroom, and we understand the difficulty it makes for a regular ed teacher, but, it's a problem that's plaguing every district across the Commonwealth. There's many articles about it, I've sent them out, and everybody's looking for different ways to be creative to get more substitute teachers, but there just is a shortage. All right, so the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Plunkett. This is the FY20 budget drivers, assumptions, and projections. Mr. Plunkett.
Thank you. This is one of the first spreadsheets we do when we're identifying what our needs are going to be for the upcoming budget. In the top section, we're anticipating or projecting our revenues. We have assessments, Chapter 70, charter reimbursement, transportation, and Medicaid. These are our general fund revenues. Now, we do have the numbers for Chapter 70 from the governor's budget in there at $8,284,000. The others are from last year. We're using estimates from last year. As the budget goes through the process, we'll see variations. It will change. The numbers will change as we go through the House and the Senate and the committee. And then the middle section is our drivers, so things that we know that we're going to be spending, need to spend money on, our expenditures. Salary increases, health insurance. We have good news on the health insurance front. We currently have $3.5 million budgeted coming across from FY19. Our head count has remained pretty even on our health insurance, but it's transitioning. We have more retirees now. We're up to 20 retirees with the same head count. So we're down about 10 active health care coverages. So that's almost $200,000 down. So with the 3.5 we have, I did an estimate for FY20. So we take what we're going to need, what we're estimating we're going to use in FY19, and multiply it by a factor of 6.8 this year is what they're telling us we're probably going to come in close to, which is a lot better than prior years. We're doing a lot better than that. That's 6.8, and it might even be a little bit lower. So we're going to be able to bring that across flat, and with just a small increase to the retirees' health insurance, kind of tweak that for that headcount shift. So that's good news. Some of the other drivers have dropped off the board, like electricity, middle school. We do not have the net metering at the middle school, so we are going to increase a little bit there. We do anticipate that we'll be saving money on electricity at the other 3 buildings, so we don't need to increase those. We do want to watch that very closely this year to see what the actual savings are. And we have transportation, sped transportation, and regular transportation. We have a contract with D-Bus. We'll be going increase by CPI, which is basically the inflation rate. I think that's 3.5, 3.4. So those are our drivers. Then the bottom section is a couple of our revolving funds revenues that we received, Choice and Circuit Breaker. These are actually down. We're projecting these to be down about $170,000 for FY20. So that comes into play because right now we're showing that our anticipated revenues will cover our drivers with $23,000 left over, but that doesn't factor in the revolving funds, which is actually looking like those 2 funds will be in a deficit as well. So we're very close to where we want to be, but as you can see, it is tight. Jim?
Yeah, I think I'm wrong, but for a number of years we've got a little bit of a break where new districts and being happy retirees. Now on, we're more going to reflect what other schools have seen for a long time. As we go longer and longer on, that line item for retirees health insurance is going to be one of the first year we had 0.
Right.
Just like that, people not even are retiring from the school district. They were there, specifically for causing the problem.
Exactly. We'll see that grow. The retirees will grow. We saw it with the towns of Bear and Shirley's, the same thing. The longer you're doing business, the longer you're providing health insurance coverage for retirees, you're going to see that group will grow.
One other quick question on is this the 3rd year, 3 for D-Bus? FY20 will be...
This is second year.
Second year?
Well, we're looking ahead to 20 now. That's going to be the 3rd year.
We're in our 2nd year.
Right. So 20 will be the 3rd year. We have two extensions as well on that if we want to execute them for 4th and 5th year.
I just trying to remember what
Jonathan, I got a quick question. If we could back up one slide. Actually, it's not a question.
On the...
So the 3rd line, charter reimbursement. When we explain this to the towns, we have to be careful on this one because there's 2 components to charter reimbursement. There's the Chapter 46, I think it is, which is based on the students who leave, and then there's a facilities component. This is the facilities component only. We're getting nothing for the students because they don't fund the out years of the charter reimbursement formula, and we don't have enough leaving anymore to get any in first year aid. So while we still are paying, I think, somewhere over $800,000 in charter tuition, we are getting 0 reimbursement.
Correct, and I believe the governor is proposing a 3-year drop-off with his new budget.
Yeah, which they won't fund the out years on that either, so it's really a point.
Right, so we don't get any of that aid, any of that reimbursement, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything from that change because I don't think they're going to fund the out year part, like they don't fund the out year part in this formula. But it's just important to note that charter reimbursement, we're really not getting any for the student tuition part. That's the facilities component.
Right. And that component is based on the number of students going to the charter schools, head count.
Does that change? How much does that change?
Mary had that earlier in the enrollment projection. It's been a steady decrease.
Yeah.
mean, at some point we're going to level off.
Ready to.
Over the, over 5 years. At some point we'll level off, just like we would when we show it.
Why do you do that?
Because there will always be students who choose to pursue a non-air short education. Because we're not going to, unless we get really big, we're not going to start off.
But that's a whole, you have to.
Same logic. Some kids are always going to want to go to charter.
And we voted down the increase of charter schools. The one problem with Boston School is that so much of their money is being used on the charter school that they are invested in. And so we already have one new charter school in Pittsburgh, and we don't know when another is going to pop up.
Okay.
So those choices are out of our control. What we can control is offering an excellent education here and offering students many opportunities, after-school programs, athletic programs, performing arts, and that's where we need to keep our focus. Okay, so this budget process started way back in early November with the building principals and the department heads and so on and so forth. We have a meeting, and they conduct their own needs assessment, and they present to us, it was in early December, they present to us their requests and needs. So in this budget, we continue to, as you know, the school committee has approved so graciously over the past 4 years since I've been here. Every year we get new curriculum resources. So next on the agenda for that is looking at our elementary math program. Our current vision program isn't really aligned to the frameworks, and then of course everyone, well, if you don't know, the social studies, the new frameworks have just been approved. So our staff this year, working along with Mr. Cleary, are looking at unpacking, what we call unpacking those standards, meaning what is it that students need to be taught, what are they going to learn, and then from there we'll be looking at some resources that, so we have $70,000 for that. We have budgeted a 0.5 preschool teacher because our preschool program is growing, and so we will wait to see the enrollment, but we want to make sure if we need to add a half-day session, we have it. Our partnership with Mount Wachusett, an EMT instructor, a psychology instructor, an early childhood instructor, is going to be about $32,000 for those articulation agreements. The English language, again, I had this in last year's budget, and we didn't use it, and I continue to fund it in case our program grows, because really we should provide more English language development. So if those numbers change, we'll be able to offer, based on an hourly rate, hopefully a part-time instructor. We're looking at strengthening our keyboarding skills in our younger students. The teachers have requested this. As you know, ASF, and along with collaboration with our funds, we bought 4 iPads for every kindergarten through second grade classroom. And we'd like to, in a cost savings effort, add keyboards to those so the students can engage in keyboarding programs with those iPads. So the iPads can still serve the apps that they use, and the students can begin to learn the keyboarding skills. New Chromebook carts, and what we'd like to do is redeploy the Chromebooks in those carts to grades 3 to 5, 4 in each classroom. Again, the state assessment is all computer-based, and in those classrooms, we'd like to have those centers where students can go to those Chromebooks and do the work. Special education, Tara, there was some increased funding for some psychological services and some ABA training. The regional referral interface, that is that program that we funded. It was usually split 4,000 the district, 4,000 Shirley, 4,000 Air, and so we decided that we should bring that into the district and put it into the assessment rather than asking the towns for that additional money. And then Mr. Kendall talked about the unified track coach, unified basketball coach. We're in need of a middle school volleyball coach because of the program growing at that level. Mr. Kendall, the numbers have increased.
Yes, so we're looking to add a middle school volleyball team next year. Our numbers in the JV level were quite large this year, where it really didn't help for everybody playing time. So The option was a JV2 program or a middle school program, and looking at the numbers at the other schools, the middle school program made more sense, where we could run the program almost like a club team with 5 other schools, being Shrewsbury, Groton, Dunstable, Littleton, and I forget the other one off the top of my head, Kingsborough, I believe. We would run the program a couple practices a week and then play a game each week. Try and develop those skills for those kids and give them the opportunity, perhaps bring more kids in too, because I know my child was in middle school, I would have a difficult time having the high school sport with seniors. So to give them an opportunity more kids an opportunity to play volleyball and get more playing. Because anyone who had a child on the volleyball team this year, the numbers of the JV team were huge, which is a good problem to have, but one we want to try and solve as well.
I was at the middle school. I go to the high school and middle school for advisories monthly, and I did the visioning activity with the 6th grade. I was with 6th graders yesterday, and so they wanted to have a JV team at the middle school, so if they don't make the team, they get cut. They have a team to play on.
We have huge numbers at the middle school right now for athletics.
This young man was really concerned about playing baseball, and he brought it up like 2 times throughout the conversation. Can we get a JV team at the middle school? So, the next slide, please. Continuing on, so increased hours for athletic trainer. I know Nate Diffin has been just so valuable in the program, and they've asked, we did fund it fully, what the request was, but we did increase the funding for that. And then some varsity volleyball uniforms. I believe they haven't gotten new uniforms in I don't know how many years, many?
6
years. The unified sports uniforms. Summer clerical help at the Laura White Page Hilltop Middle School. During the summer, the principals need assistance and support. There's all kinds of materials and supplies coming in, so we funded each school $500. The administrative assistants work 2 weeks after school ends and 2 weeks before school starts, so that'll give the principals some support in the buildings. There's a lot still going on in the buildings. The Panther Block supplies, the request came in for that at $4,500. Supplies for the advisory program we have at the high school. Starting in freshman year, which is going to feed into sophomore year and so on and so forth. And then the 3 schools wanted some increase to their furniture and supply line. So that was increased by $7,100. District instruction, that's really was just for costs that increased for like Teach Point and Atlas, Rubicon, our Curriculum Mapping Center. And then of course, I always put in that equity and equality strategic plan initiatives. Retention of all teaching positions, maintaining reasonable class size, and sustaining all current programming, which is not a cost of the total amount. So that is $253,850. Next slide, please. So the superintendent always has a budget that we call this the wish list budget. If we had an endless stream of funding, we would want to make the technology teacher at Laura White full-time. We would like to have interventionists. 1 in ELA and 1 math. That is $40,000. The cost is lower because we would bring in somebody at an hourly rate. We'd like to bring the Chromebook initiative, the one-to-one, down to the middle school at $120,000. We'd like to bring in a media teacher at the middle school to complement our program. We all know about literacy and how important it is in the libraries. That's about a $60,000 cost. The average is $50,000 bill with $10,000 for insurance. That's how we cost that out. A late bus, of course. A 0.5 guidance director. You know, it's interesting because folks sometimes operate on the pretense that when you're a small district, you don't need leaders or departments, but you do. That's my belief. That's my philosophy. There's still a lot of work that goes on in the school counseling department and things that should be brought into the district, developmental guidance. And so cameras at the middle school, we had this last year, and we don't have the cameras over there. The district digital radio system, which we are looking at, we're still working on getting some information back. And then social emotional learning supports. This is going to be one initiative that I'd like to see in our district strategy. We really need to do a better job at some of our social emotional learning supports for kids here in the district. There are 5 competencies in social emotional learning, and so we really need to work on those and integrate those into our everyday lessons and interactions with kids. And I'm sure you all read a lot about it. You can even start with a simple, every student coming in and a high five, right out of the gate, keep you awake. We say, good morning, welcome, I'm so glad you're here today because you're going to love this lesson we're going to do. Any questions or comments? Okay. Bill will take over, go on the next few slides.
Okay, this one, I'll go right to the furthest right-hand column, which is the FY20 projected. The general fund budget, which is all of our net school spending, all administrations, teaching, facilities, technology, everything under the general fund is there. That is $28,899,947. That's a 2% increase over FY19. Grants and revolving are up a little bit. Our grants, we've been writing the Title III and IV grants, and Title I and SPED IDEA are both up. So the grants are up. Revolving is down a little bit. Those are the two components that make up the grants and revolving. Due to circuit breaker and choice are down a little bit. So that is down. The revolving is down a little bit. The grants have made up for it. All funds together, everything, the grand total for all of our funds is $32 million. That's a 1.3% increase over last year. And then we back out the debt for this next calculation, that's the debt for high school project total for Aaron Shirley, and then we subtract that out, and you arrive at a 1.4% increase over FY19. So we think those are pretty good numbers, pretty low increases. Next slide, Michelle. This drills it down one more to the assessment, which actually goes to the towns, what they're assessed. The state sets a foundation budget, and then they back out Chapter 70, and what's remaining is what we basically assess to the towns. So the assessment for this year, we've projected at $18,622,142, which is an increase of $596,923, or a 3.3% increase. And you can see the increases have been trending down. Last year was a bit of an anomaly because we did have E&D that was used in the budget. It was as a revenue to reduce the assessment to the towns. So I think you would have seen more of that trend, even the way it's been going down over the years. But we're very pleased to see that 3.3 for the assessment increase, which we think is very reasonable. Back to the revenue. This shows you FY19 cherry sheet. That's what we actually got from the state last year compared to the House 1 or the governor's budget. It includes Chapter 70, transportation reimbursement, charter tuition, or actually charter facilities reimbursement. We should rename that. School choice. So you can see school choice is way down for the governor's budget. This will probably get tweaked during the process, during the Senate and the committee. They look a little bit harder. If they scrub the choice numbers, we'll have better choice numbers. So that will probably go up a little bit. But right now, we're looking at the revenue decrease for this year, for FY20, and then the charges that are increased a little bit, $69,000. We're about $191,000 short of what we got last year. Again, this is a moving target, and it will evolve through all the phases of the budget. So we'll keep a close eye on this. It's very important that the revenue projections, we try to be as conservative as we can, because we're not really sure where it's going to end up.
And that's the tricky thing when you develop a budget, is because the towns and the charters and the regulations, we have to have an approved budget by a certain date, and the actual, when the budget, so it goes to the House, then it goes to the Senate, then it goes to the conference committee, and the budget has to be approved by June 30th of 2000. So we just hope that the projections stay stable, or you...
Yeah, we go to the next one, Michelle. The next one is the E&D. This is just a history since we regionalized the E&D through the years. FY16, we had our capital projects fund was in deficit, so we actually had a negative E&D. There's no money available. This is money that is left over. It's like free cash to a town, but it reverts back to zero on June 30th each year. So when you get your E&D certified, you have that money to use until June 30th of that current fiscal year. Once June 30th comes and goes, that money reverts back to zero, and you do not have access to it. So very important to get it certified. We're currently having FY18 certified right now. All the information is into the state, so we should have that information hopefully middle of February for the budget process. But our balance last year, after we used $173,000 for the budget, was $1,374,770 for FY17. And of course, that's now zero balance, because we start all over again with the FY18 certification. Foundation enrollment directly drives the foundation budget. So here we have it broken down for Shirley and Air over the last several years. And Shirley has, this is foundation enrollment is a little different than district enrollment because it's all the kids we're responsible for. If they go to the choice out or the charter out, those are still our kids. They belong to Air and Shirley. So those are in this number. That's why it's a little bit different than some of the district enrollment you'll see. But the required local contribution is what the state sets that Shirley and Air have to pay. That's the minimum contribution they have to make. Fortunately, Air and Shirley both pay over the RLC, the required local contribution. We're very fortunate for that. But that is the minimum level, and it's based on their ability to pay. Values, land and home values, and wages, things like that are all factored in. And there's a calculation that actually puts that number out for the required local contribution. We plug that into our budget, and it goes into the assessments. Any questions on the RLC? Okay, go to the next one. This is the Chapter 70 summary right off the DESD website. And I want to point out three things. On the left side is the calculation for Chapter 70, and the district only receives the minimum $20 per pupil of aids, which is $34,780 or $740. So that is our chapter, the increase to our Chapter 70, and that proves down to our total of $8,284,000. And as you go to the top sections on the right is our comparison to FY19. Top line is foundation enrollment. We've gone down one student in foundation enrollment for the year, which is pretty steady. And then you can see the numbers coming through for FY20 with the Chapter 70 being subtracted from the foundation budget. We get the amount that is required local contribution for the towns. It goes directly into the budget calculation. And at the bottom, you can see the graphs. To the right is Chapter 70, which is pretty flat. And then we have, in the middle is a required local contribution. You can see that trending up a little bit, pretty consistently. And then the foundation budget, the graph on the left, shows a little bit of a good increase for this year. I think actually this was 17. So it is trending up as well. That's only through FY17. Sorry. So that's the summary for the district. If we move on to the next slide, we'll see how they calculated the contribution for Shirley. For Shirley, they belong to the Air Shirley Regional School District and Neshoba Valley Technical High School. So they have a foundation budget for each district. So according to the number of students that attend each district, they do their foundation budget calculation. There's a percentage that is applied against, and then they come up with the required local contribution based on those numbers. And at the very bottom, you can see this is for Shirley. You can see the increase to their required local contribution. For Air Shirley is $189,173, and they have a small increase for Neshoba Tech. They're actually down. Shirley is down 31 students to the foundation budget, 28 to Air Shirley, and down 3 to Neshoba Tech. So I'm not sure what's going on with the demographics here, but those numbers are down. And so the total increase to the foundation budget for Shirley is $197,199. And the next slide is the same thing for Air. And Air is actually up 30 students. So you can see that first line all the way to the right. For FY19, they had 1,001 students foundation budget, and if you look further down on the right column, you'll see 1,031. And so they're up 27 students for Air Shirley and up 3 students to Neshoba Tech. It's almost like a mirror image almost for the two towns. And then Air's increase to the required local contribution is $350,629, and Neshoba Tech went up $46,043. So those are the apportionments or the calculations for Chapter 70 and local contribution. local contributions, which leads us to our final slide for the assessment. And we break it down. The grand total is $18,622,142, increase of $596,923, or 3.3%. AIR's percentage, this is based on the regional agreement. Right now it's about 57% AIR, 43% Shirley. There are some fractions in there, but rounding up. And so AIR's assessment is $11,067,814, $373,823 increase, or 3.5%. And then Shirley's assessment is $7,554,327, or $223,099 increase, or 3%.
Can I make a suggestion on this slide?
Absolutely.
Can we show the breakout of what's RLC versus what's net school spending?
Absolutely. I started to look at that, and actually, it's a little different this year. One of the towns, actually both of the towns, net school spending actually went down a little bit. So I'll put that together, and I'll let you guys take a look at that.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to show it, because most of this is RLC for both towns, right? It's about $350 for Air and about $190 for Sterling. So
yes, exactly. Yep. And the result was net school spending above RLC actually decreased a little bit.
Yeah, you put one on your slide, it went from 110 to 108,
Yeah.
something like that.
So that's why I didn't bring it tonight, because I think I was prepared to explain it, but that's what's happening. Well, I can do that. I'll share it with everybody on the committee.
Thank you, Dan. That's a very good suggestion. Put that out. Just help sort of tie all those slides in together in that last one. That's probably the most important one.
And we did it last year because it was, it was a significant increase last year.
And it shows, where the bulk of it is.
Yeah, exactly. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for your diligence to this. Thank you to everyone who worked on the principals and staff of this one. Any other questions from us, from Dr. Malone, or for Bill, or?
No, like I said, you would want the PowerPoint from the Taylor Forest cities. Happy to share that to anyone that emails me, and this is all public information. The PowerPoint, so certainly if anybody want to pass it in all purposes. Or for their own records, sure. Certainly. When you're ready to get it. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention.
So while we're on this, does anyone have any questions for our department leaders on their memos? Joyce, go ahead.
Looking at the facilities project update, of course, are we still within budget on that? Facilities, and I know we've had a lot of things coming up, and this has to be done. Old stuff is trying to go. Still on 2 pages, 3 pages.
Yes. So sorry, Joyce, I didn't catch the beginning of your question.
Okay, so this is a wonderful reference to the trouble to do. And I did note that one of the problems that they were having in Boston was the division line was all bad. And we had to retire like that. So it's not surprising. So is there a dollar amount halfway through the year that we are in our facility requirements, maintenance?
I can take that over, Bob.
Okay.
The report that I ran as of December 26th, we still had a positive balance in facilities, cost under $93,000. We've done a lot of maintenance, so those lines are a little bit over. We're making it up for some of the other lines that we haven't used, so we're in pretty good shape. But that's pretty tight for the remainder of the year, so we're going to have to look at revolving funds. We have a building rental.
Yeah, I mean, that was my concern, was that we need to do stuff, but then we get concern here was that halfway through the year, we need to look for fine, see where we are, and know where we are.
And a lot of it is HVAC, which hopefully can get us through the winter, and then once we're out
Out of the woods.
winter, we back off it a little bit.
It's hard, it's gonna be fun.
Correct.
So thank you, so that's the issue.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm up here. Should I continue with this, my presentation part, or do you want me to go back?
If you just give me 1 second, I just want to inform the committee and those present this evening. So the MSBA reached out to many districts that had built or renovated a new facility in the last 3 years and asked if we would volunteer to be part of a pilot program. And they're trying to yield information about the utilization and the efficiency of the building that we have built here. So I was happy to, I volunteered us, I joined it. I think it's a good thing for us to do because I'd like to know, and I'm sure you would like to know, and everyone would like to know, how efficient is this building? How are we utilizing all of the infrastructure, the HVAC and the heat and the
All the
electricity?
mechanicals,
all the
building envelope, how is everything holding up? Is it working as per the design? You know, are we getting what we wanted to get out of it? So we'll be taking part in that very soon.
Right, so we had a conference call with them today for over an hour, and Bill and Bob, they'll be on site on Thursday, and they'll be here for about 6 hours, going through the whole building, and then it'll culminate in a written report for us, and so I'm hoping that we'll get some positive feedback from them.
So are they considering like what our floors, what our spaces, what spending versus what they want to see, go back into the design, design for future buildings?
Similar to that, yeah. They're going to be looking at the efficiencies of the building. They're going to be comparing us to other schools of similar age and benchmarking. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, when we were on the conference call today, some of the feedback, a piece of feedback I gave to them was, so I came when this project was about 50% complete, and as I sat in the meeting and stuff, I realized that the complexities, there's like 600 sensors in this building, and the mechanical system, the computer system that you really needed either to have a contract service company come in and manage it. You've all heard the story of Newton North, when they built that school. So they didn't bring in a skilled person or a contract company, so the custodians, the alarms would go off and they would just keep shutting them off and they wouldn't change filters or tend to all the issues. And so all of their costs were skyrocketed. And of course the town said, wait a minute, we just built this new building and why are our costs? We all get electric bill, it goes up and you go, oh God, I think I've been keeping the lights on, right? So, so through that process, and so then I started looking at contract companies, and they charge you like $200,000 a year to monitor the buildings. So I always compliment Bob, and I will continue to do so because we got a facilities director who was able to manage all of those systems and do work. He can go and he can change filters, and last week he was on the roof shoveling when we had all that rain, and there was snow in there. What was it, like a foot of rain at Page Hilltop?
Yeah, Page
Hilltop. Foot of water?
Well, a good 5 or 6 inches.
Yeah, Brian, so, he has this, he's skilled and he's knowledgeable, and he gets in there and does the work. So we're very fortunate to have Bob.
I'm hanging in there.
I don't know if I like the word hanging.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
So I did list things that I felt were noteworthy for you to take a gander at, and feel free to ask any questions about anything on the list. Some of these items you've seen before. They were probably in the planning stages at that point in time, or maybe underway. Probably 95% of this list that I have is completed right now. So we're moving on to the new list at this point. But you brought up the drinking water situation that we had. We took part in a program that was free to the school
It involved the EPA, and a group came out and took samples at all 4 schools. Of course, we had some challenges at Page Hilltop and some of the older buildings with the old leaded joints, soldered joints and things like that. So it was really good that we took part in this. Some problems were identified that we had. Now we knew we had them, and we took measures to counteract it. And we did a lot of work over at Page Hilltop. Over at that school, if you're not familiar with the layout of it, there was a plumbing fixture in every single classroom. There was a sink and a faucet and a bubbler. And some of those were came in over the action level, what they consider the action level, concentration of lead in the water. So we took measures to take care of that. It was very expensive. It did cost the district some money, but we made the drinking water better over at Page Hilltop by taking care of those measures that we did. Recently, on the list here, we did a similar thing over at Laura White. We had lesser problems over there to take care of. They didn't have as many fixtures in that school as we did over at Page Hilltop. But recently we installed another filtered water bubbler that has a bottle fill feature to it too. We put it right outside the gymnasium. As a safety measure, we took the porcelain units that were in the gymnasium completely out and finished off the wall. I felt that they were kind of a hazard to the kids running up and down the gym. If somebody were to trip and bump into that, it could be really harmful to them. So that's on the list, and I wanted to point that out. A lot of these things are safety related or upgrade and improvement related. And just a lot of general maintenance stuff too, with some of our bigger heating and air conditioning equipment. Anything in there catching anybody's eye that they want to talk about?
Lots of good things, and obviously a lot of it's just stuff that you see in your own house, right? It's going out, and it's fixed.
Correct.
That's what it's done.
Yeah.
Happens over a few years, right?
True.
No, this is a good, the kind of neat thing is, I noticed on a couple of these is that we had internal people doing it, like writing on the left, writing, using the left. And that's great to you guys to be able to have those available and to be able to have some people who are willing to go up there and do it, and to use those in-house resources.
Yep, good.
We can save money for the next thing it brings.
Definitely.
Upgrade. That's great. Thank you to you and for that.
Okay.
Well, I guess on that, transportation, the rest of money,
True.
for the parts that you need. I know there's a lot of work in that.
So we do have another cold blast coming in on Thursday. Rest assured that we're being proactive in taking measures to be prepared for it. We had that's a similar experience about a week ago, just after the long weekend, Martin Luther King Day long weekend. We did incur one frozen pipe at the middle school, but we were able to contain that in a short period of time. Any damage was minimized. Luckily, it was on the first floor. It was not in a classroom. We didn't have to displace any students. We were able to isolate the leak and take care of it. We're investigating why that unit is unique to the rest of the building. So we'll find out what that issue is and take care of it. We didn't have any problems at Page Hilltop, similar to what we had a year ago when we had the 4th and 5th grade wing freeze up. In that case, we did have to displace some classrooms for a short period of time, but took care of it. So we're on it. Okay.
Any other? I was going to see if anyone else wants any other questions from any of our department heads. I can say that Mr. Parker, just thank you for sending out the email about the free assistance. Certainly it was a day later and it was sort of done, but, you know, a 3-week reprieve perhaps before another one happens. But thank you for making that well known to our community. That's a great idea, and, you know, anything we can do to help out.
Right.
Thank you. So just so the public's aware, we offer to any families of government workers who may be having a hardship due to the shutdown, we offer them temporary food lunch or food lunch. So great way to help our families in the community. So with no other questions, we will bring Mr. Briggs back up for the boiler at Page Hill. I just let you get your chair warmed up again.
If I may, Mr. Chair, so one of the things we were looking at was submitting, we need a new boiler at the Page Hilltop and submitting it for the accelerated repair plan with MSBA. And so Bob, we've been getting a quote, and we got the quote in today, so I'll let him go from there. Well, I would say the MSBA guidelines, it has to be $250,000 expense, and the boiler has to be 20 years or older.
We started looking at some improvements at some of the elementary schools based on the Flansburgh report that they did a couple of years ago. And a boiler was selected at the Page Hilltop. It could have been at Laura White too, but one unique thing about one of the boiler rooms at Page Hilltop, there's 2 boiler rooms. One of them has two boilers in it, and one of them has one. The boiler room at Laura White has 2 boilers in it. So there's some redundancy. If we had a failure with one of them, we've got some backup heat. At the Page Hilltop lower boiler room, there's 1 boiler. If we have a problem with it, we're probably shutting down a portion of the school for a period of time in the winter time to see until we rectify it. So we were looking at that particular boiler and getting pricing to take advantage of this program with the MSBA and look into replacing it. One of the qualifiers for this program with the MSBA is a cost factor, and we didn't quite meet that. This quote came in at $115,000 for a new boiler, and a new burner, and a condensate receiver tank to go along with it. That number could flex up a little bit if we went with a more efficient burner for the boiler, but it's not going to hit the 250 mark that would qualify us. The other thing too is we found out the boiler is about 17 years old and it has to be a minimum of 20. So we're looking at maybe roofs. Roofs are a qualifying item. There's only a few for this particular program that we can look at. But in this past snow and then rainstorm with the warm weather, we were talking a little bit about the amount of water we had on the Page Hilltop roof. We had a roofing company come in, which was really good. I was pretty impressed. I just recently brought in a brand new to our district roofing company, Rockwell Roofing out of Leominster. And when I first started hearing about the leaks over at Laura White, I made a phone call, and they were out there that afternoon. At Laura White, we had like 7 leaks up on that roof. Over here at Page Hilltop, we had 41 repairs made the next day. So, yeah. So we had quite a few leaks. There was so much slush and water on that roof, and the snow was just holding the water back. Nothing was flowing to the roof drains, and that's why we went up on the roof. And we just cut paths to the roof drains through the slush. We made like spider legs to the drain, and then you could just see the water just begin to flow. So that pressure and that amount of weight and water on the roof did find its way into, we had more leaks than we were aware of. They were in the very next day, Rockwell Roofing, and made 41 patches up on that roof. Yeah. So.
Back to the boiler, that's what we want to do to replace that with.
Can't let that go.
It's on our radar screen for sure. Yeah.
We're going to be on the hook for this.
Right, it's got to be, we can't commit it,
Anything else before I go back over there?
No. Let's wait till you're talking.
By the way,
Still need to do the selection part.
Thank you.
We'll try and get you out of here. Okay. So, the boiler and the roof projects, those are under the advanced repair program. So, with the MSBA, so those proposals would have been, our submissions would be required by February 15th. I think, we've done the roof repairs. So far, I'm not sure if we want to continue to pursue any roof repairs, any major roof repairs under the advanced replace program, or if we would decide not to do that. But, moving on to statement of interest line item. Those statement of interest for core programs are going to be due mid to late April, I believe, in April. We do have some time to decide on that. But we do need to decide if we are still interested in submitting a statement of interest this year for either elementary school or document. We met with, we spoke on the phone with some of the MSBA refugees and this was a while. But we could submit both, or?
You have to prioritize.
Yes.
You have to prioritize. You can submit two, but you have to prioritize one school over the other. And I think, if I may comment in the interest of, still looking at the fields, and I might recommend to the school that we might think about taking an interest for next year and work on the fields. Where they need to be.
Does anyone have any comments on what they wanted, what they've been, we've certainly kind of approached the SLI subject multiple times over the last year or so. Any comments they want to make, or opinions, or want to have this at another meeting?
I'd like to hear from both of the towns where they stand with their readiness to taking on that kind of project, both towns. So I don't know, I just would like to hear from both of them on, what it's like in both towns. Because I'm not interested in submitting something that the towns don't support. Before I would make any kind of decision. I'd like to hear that they're prepared and ready and think that their communities are going to support it and that they're going to support it.
Okay.
And, it's something that they can think about, and we're doing presentations to them, and I know it's not a lot of time, but I think they need to have some feedback to us on that.
I do think it would be good if we could keep up with what the state is doing, because obviously, from that report we had, they have totally changed some of their ideas of what a school should look like and what we would be allowed to do, and it's almost like they've gone backwards in some of their thoughts on some of these reimbursements. So I saw from that, it didn't seem like it was a good time to even talk to them about it, because it was going to be going backwards. It was going to be making less space. And I'm like, what? Less space? What? Since we always need more for special education and stuff like that, it was kind of a surprise to me. And I'm not sure if I think it's better to keep an eye on what the state's going to change and how they're going to evolve, because I think they're going to come back from where they are right now. So if we get into them right now, we may end up with a lesser product than we might in a year from now. So, because these things change all the time. And then when they get back on a kick where they want to give out more money again, instead of going where they are now, which is a lot less than what they were giving out 5 years ago. So this is something I'm not sure that this is the prime time to do it.
I think it's a good idea to get feedback from the towns. I agree with Michelle. I think we should probably, with so many things on the table, we should probably not advance that till, no matter what information we gave for them right now, I don't think there's anything we could do actionable before the deadline for this year anyway. So I would think that maybe this is something we visit after we get through the budget cycle in June time period, after the town meeting, try to take a look at some of their advanced capital planning and see where these kind of projects might fill in. But I don't think I would broach it with them at this point.
I mean, so we have, next week we have our meetings with both towns. Do we sort of leave that as a topic at the end and just say, hey, look, you know, we have until April to submit a statement of interest? Is there an interest from either town, knowing that, you know, there's going to be a taxpayer burden? Is there an interest in us submitting it, or do we just sort of start the process, I guess, or I guess I'm not sure. I think I'd like them to understand that the SOI is open, and it sounds like to me right now we don't have an interest, but, you know, I'm not sure how I would, I don't want to give them an action item if we're not going to do anything, but I also want to keep them informed that we're still discussing this. And, you know.
Yeah, I think that approach of saying, you know, this is the time frame, you know, this is, you know, is this something that you guys have discussed as a board, knowing the taxpayer implications? And if it's not something you're prepared to discuss or have discussed so that you wouldn't be prepared this year, we would like to have this be something you talk about as a board, you know, because we're going to be coming back and, you know, wanting your feedback in order to make an educated decision. So, I mean, I think you can ask the question because there may be some discussions that we don't know about or planning that we don't know about, and then, you know, leave it open-ended with them that, you know, this is, you know.
There is a time frame.
Right.
But there's no saying you have to do anything.
Right, and we want you to start having these conversations because we want feedback back from you before we make decisions about submitting one school over the other.
I don't think I would confuse the current budget process with that, but maybe make it a separate meeting agenda with them, not in the current budget presentations. I think it's important that we keep those pure, get them, that we need the budget, guys. We need the money, and, you know, we'll get feedback that part of the panic that they had before, oh, we don't know when the schools are going to happen. Well, if you start bringing up the schools are going to happen, then I think you're going to have some pushback.
I think maybe that might be true in one community over another, but I think maybe we don't, I don't know.
Maybe we could approach this later. I don't see it happening. I don't see putting out a statement of interest right now. Maybe everybody else does. But this is something that we should work through the rest of this year and bring it up as a whole separate thing that is going to happen sometime, guys. We want your feedback, we want your input before we even start. We want them to be part of that statement of interest so that it's a solid statement of interest and we don't get there and then we get hit because it's not what they were perceiving. So I think there's work to be done here that we certainly can't do by the middle of April, and it needs to be done in a separate thing from budget. Budget is budget, and we need to keep it separate. We need to get this done first, and then we can work. Because I don't think we're ready to do a statement of interest.
I mean, I guess I would agree with Joyce in that keeping the budget simple and being the only topic might be a good way to go. And if we're asked the question by one of the towns, then we can broach the subject. But maybe leaving it, and then
It's a work in progress.
I just don't think I don't want to see it be something that we wait until next year on. I think they need to understand it's coming down the pike, or it's not. But I definitely would like the conversation to start at some point.
Okay. And I think that sort of goes along with when Dan spoke with, I believe it was MSBA, and they were looking for evidence if you tried to do a school consolidation or regional elementary school. Certainly we have some hurdles to get through there, but they did want some evidence and some feedback that towns would be supportive. So perhaps that's we can start setting up some sort of game plan that as we work, to Joyce's point, get through the budget, get that straightened out, and then, maybe once a month, just have a working group meeting or something to that effect, and just start strategically planning so that when we get to a year from now, we have a direction in where we're going. So I think that'll probably be good then. We'll just take the approach that if they ask at our meetings next week, we'll answer with, we haven't voted yet, but, it doesn't, from this discussion, doesn't sound like we're going to submit anything, so.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is we need a study committee. And that's not us, but it's a collection of everybody from the towns and us to see what's what we did on the high school. We started off with a study committee, and then it became the building committee. And, then you had a lot of people involved who had input, who knew what was going on, and it has to flow that way.
All right. Very good. Thank you all for your input and discussions. Good to talk these things out. All right. Next, we have a proposal from Flansburgh to obtain the actual costs on the master field plan. Dr. Mullen, if you want to just briefly, I think.
The last school committee meeting, thank you, Mr. Chair, brought forward that we still have to make repairs to the field and improvements and bring them to ADA compliance, and we've been gathering some of those costs, but in discussion with you and others, the master plan that was presented was a magnitude of cost, so that said that this is the highest we'd be at 7.1 million, and then we had the half-million donation, which brought it down to 6.6 million. And again, that was the highest cost for everything that was going to be done in the plan. So I thought it might be because to remediate the areas in the field, it would have to be brought to the towns in their assessment. I don't, so I thought maybe that Flansburgh, who I think has done a good job for us, actually goes out and costs the project, what it would actually cost, and then the school committee, getting that report back, the school committee could certainly look at pieces of it and what those actual costs are, and that it would be lower, I'm sure, than the magnitude of cost.
Yeah, and I think that sort of goes along with we'd be able to, perhaps, so on page 1 where we have 7 different various scopes, right, we might be able to pick some of those out that we want or not want to do, and we'll have some comparison numbers, again, against the 400 and 500 seat capacity. Certainly that was one of our wild cards, was what the bathroom facility would look like, or what its requirements and what it would look like as far as cost goes. And then so what we can see 4 and 500, maybe we make a decision that 400 seats is enough, and it drives down the cost of the concession stand enough that we can then do something else with that money. So again, I think that's a good thing. So the Flansburgh proposal price is $9,800, I believe. Is that correct? Yes, $9,800. Looks like they'd have back to us late March, early April, probably. They were pretty quick in their turnaround with the other one, so. So if we are interested in doing that, we do need to have a vote to accept that approval. Do you have any questions about it, or?
How much have we spent already on that field form? What's the total?
It's about 50,000. To SMMA, the soil testing, including Flansburgh.
Flansburgh was separate, the elementary school, that was.
Probably closer to 40 then, if it's not so Flansburgh.
What's up? For Whittier, for the surveys?
Yeah, we had 2 soil surveys. SMMA was
those are closer to 50.
They went into a contingency, so that's almost 35K right there, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to say we were pushing close to 50 before. Yeah, before that, without the Flansburgh report.
Yeah.
Because there was some additional soil sampling, and then they had to do an additional survey when the field committee decided to move the scope down, move the softball field down below. There was some additional survey work that needed to be done.
I would like to point out, though, that the funding for SMMA did not come out of the operational budget, it came out of building rental.
Right, but still moving.
No, I know, I'm not disputing that, I'm just
Right.
saying that it didn't come out of the operation budget, it comes out of the building rental that we've been, that has been built up through some of the movies and other things, and our buildings are in use every single weekend.
Only way to go. The only way to go, they should be in use all the
Yeah,
time.
right. And a lot of that we don't charge, and we pay for the custodian on Saturdays, right? For the towns and the people, the community use the building, so.
Personally, with regard to the fields, I think we're in a good spot. I mean, I have 2 P.O. boxes, so I talk to a lot of people all the time, right? So I think the overall biggest misconception was that the Fields Committee failed. Like, Fields Committee failed, project failed. It's like, and I take a look and say, no, it's just a part of the process. I think if you went in both towns and talked to all the people that voted no, I don't think you could find 100 people that says, well, we have a down. There are all sorts of reasons, and I think when you take that, when you start talking about building a school and doing stuff, then you got to talk in Dr. Malone's world, and they're talking about what does your room look like, and what do the service areas look like, and all that sort of stuff, and nobody has any ideas, right? What makes athletic field extremely difficult, everybody has an idea, and everybody's idea is valid. That's what makes it so difficult, and that was the, so I say, the biggest success of the Fields Committee was that pretty much when we started this thing, you're going to have all those opinions. You were in direct conflict, it seemed like you were in direct conflict with elementary schools. Felt that way to me anyway. You know, and that aspect of it has totally gone away. And there's always a couple of drums beating out there, but overall, I think there was support that says, what you have now is inadequate for what you're here to do, right? So you have to take a look, right? What do we have overall when you're, what do I know we have, or what do I think we have? I know we have an end vote that passed. I know that we had a debt exclusion vote that passed in there. So now, to complete a project of some sort, we have to come through Shirley. We have a piece of paper, for now, forgetting about the design, we have a piece of paper signed by the chair of the Shirley Finance Committee that says, please spend $4.1 million. That's worth something. But that means that people over there, people in our town, on our FinCom, and our Board of Selectmen say that we still need to do something. So this is all just a part of the process, and we're in a good place. So now you have to take those things and go like, all right, I personally don't think, and I said when the first night that the presentation was made, that it came in at 7-1, I said, right out of the get-go, I'm not choking on the number. I'm really not. For all the money we saved on the school, everything we're going to put forward, the numbers and things, this is just more talking about a harder cost. I think there are other ancillary reasons that the project doesn't pass. So we're going to be faced to answer some questions. Clearly, I'm the one that was saying mostly the easiest way to make the number to have A, facilities for everybody involved moving baseball and softball off campus, which nobody wanted to do. And everybody's got a right for all their own reasons, and their reasons are just as valid as my reasons, and it's weighed exactly the same. But when the Fields Committee looked at this, they went to the town of Air and Shirley, and it looked like that wasn't going to be possible. But now we're in a situation where if we were to pass a project for, say, 4-1, or I always thought it was going to be closer to 5, if we were to pass it, if we sat down with first the town of Air, the Recreation Committee, and the Board of Selectmen and said, listen, I know we were going to spend 7, if we spend around 4, now you've got, if that happens, you've got, to make the math easier, an extra $2 million now that you thought you were going to have to spend, because that would reduce Air's portion by roughly 2 and Shirley's by roughly 1. You've got that. Is there a way that you think now, given this current situation, if a project went through like this, you could support programs there or not? It's totally their decision, not our decision. All right? If we can't get through that wicket, then we do the exact same thing in the town of Shirley, because we don't have a lot, but we have a lot of land. And we already have ongoing discussions with AAU for baseball facilities on the land by the middle school. We have the exact same discussion there. If in either one of those places we get a yes vote, then we would be able to decide whether we actually want to pursue that or not. Because right now, the landscape has changed from the pre-vote landscape. So if we can get clarification on those, we might find out that, hey, look, Air is not interested in hosting, and Shirley is not interested in hosting, and they can't meet the timeline for what we need to support the program. Then it's off the table, then you have no choice. That means that you have to keep the programs here, and then maybe we're back here for plans work. But I think we have to go through that wicket first, because if we are successful in brokering a deal with either one of the towns, now we have the land available up here to come up with many designs. So I think if we do that one step first, that will set the playing field for what the next step has to be. I believe that we have to answer that question first, because that question will be asked.
Can I ask one? I guess my response to that would be, we don't know that there's a $2 million savings without costing out the project. So I would recommend we go ahead with this to cost out the project, to see where we're at, to see what a football facility is going to cost, to know what doing the baseball field is going to cost. Otherwise, it's uneducated to go to the towns and say, oh, well, what if we save $2 million? It's going to save you one. We don't know that. We don't know what it's going to cost. So I think spending $9,800 on this to get some actual numbers and some solid numbers, then we can make some educated decisions about, no, you know what, baseball here isn't going to, it's too expensive, which I don't think that I would be on that side of the fence, but I'm just saying, then maybe you have those conversations with the town, because you actually know what's going to be saved if we don't do the baseball work or the softball work. But I don't think we can have educated conversations with the towns without having cost estimates like Blandsburg would provide. So I don't think that's the first step. I think this is the first step.
I personally think that SMMA is a good firm. Peter knows what he's doing, and I think his order of magnitude numbers are perfectly capable for us to make decisions on.
But they're the top level.
That's what caused us to fail. We didn't
Right,
have specific
exactly.
enough numbers. We could never defend it.
I'm not ready to have conversations about moving it off campus without knowing what things cost. I'm really not. I was never for moving it off campus. I'm still not for moving it off campus. So I'd like to find out what things cost. If maybe we find out it's going to cost $5 million to do the work on the softball field, maybe that would change my mind. But I don't know that. So I don't want to have conversations about moving things off, moving kids off campus, moving sports that, these kids want to be here playing here too. Why are we segregating these two sports? We have JV programs, varsity programs, middle school programs. Why are we picking these two sports to say, no, we're not gonna invest in you? And those aren't even the baseball field isn't even a big cost driver. Not to mention the fact we have work that needs to be done immediately, and putting this down the pike, we need to do our track. We need to do some things. We need to make some decisions fast. So I think this is the smartest way to go.
Personally, I would disagree, because I think sitting with them doesn't cost you any money. It's not asking anybody here to make a decision. It's just another point of information. And we may find out that if we find out that either one of the communities is interested in that, that can be something else that can be priced out by Flansburgh. And then you have the entire palette in front of you.
But we've already been told by both the towns they don't have the capability. So giving them, saying it's an extra $1 million, the baseball parking lot is such that if we play a varsity game on the baseball field at Peroni, you're going to have 150 home run balls hit over the course of the 10 games we host, because it's a field, a hitter's dream. They're going to all think they're Babe Ruth out there, but it doesn't make any sense. We can't move a parking lot. They're not going to move a parking lot to create more field, to have a better outfield. We've been told. I don't understand what taking this extra time to go back to the towns, what benefit is that?
Because the situation has changed.
How's it changed?
Because now we have a document from Shirley FinCom that says they're okay on a 4.1 number.
So let's see what
Right,
things
so now,
cost.
so if, for that number, for that 4.1, if you take a look at what your load is down at Throne Park, I'm not telling them they have to make any modifications. I coach those kids at that age group, and if you think there's a bunch of homer domes going over there, then you're watching the wrong games.
At varsity level?
Huh? Yeah.
The varsity
yeah,
level?
Yeah, on left
On
field
that?
corner.
Okay,
Right,
well,
300
I guess we'll agree to disagree. 'cause-
303 feet down the line and 363 at dead center. So, I don't know, I can yank a couple.
What
but-
makes me, sorry.
No, go ahead, go
What
ahead.
makes me uncomfortable is throwing out numbers without anything really clearly behind that. Because as soon as you do that and send stuff out making big assumptions, these words spread that are not linked to anything, specific. And
Yeah, and I think that's what I was going to add on, was why are we boxing ourselves into 4.1? Just because the Shirley FinCom says 4.1 is the right number, that's fine. They haven't done any of this cost estimating. They haven't done any of this going out and getting actual quotes, and it's unfair to our student athletes to try and box a solution into $4.1 million or $5 or whatever the number is. We should be developing the solution based on a combination of the costs and, I mean, we know 7.1 is not going to fly. We were told that. That's by that vote. That's fine. I get that, right? But just because 4.1 is okay with a group of 7 to 10 people on the finance committee, I don't even know how many's on there anymore, right? Does that mean that, why does that drive us to develop a solution that's back-ended in to $4.1 million when it might not solve all the solutions? Personally, I don't want to just repave the track. To me, that's short-sighted. You need to reshape the track so that even if we never do synthetic turf, it's wide enough for soccer. Those elements that are causing issues are out of the way. And if someone, say an outside group, wanted to come in and pay for the synthetic turf, then it's ready to go in that shape. Because if we spend $400,000, and I know that's sort of high, but whatever, call it $350,000 to $400,000 on just repaving the track, then that track, we would get lambasted in public if we, in 5 years, tried to rip it up and do something to it, right? It's the same thing as if you spend a ton of money on the elementary schools and you go do an SOI to repair them. You're just spending more money, and you're not getting future-proofed or future design things. So personally, again, I'm not sure why we're trying to back into 4.1 just because the finance committee says it's okay.
If I can add one more thing, I think my position too would be to be able to have some cost estimates. I might say, let's take on the football field and let's do the track, let's do the turf, let's do all that. That'll alleviate some of the stress that's on our soccer field, our baseball outfield. Maybe we can do this in phases, and maybe we do just that right now. Get the concession stand, get the bathrooms, get the track done, get the turf in, and then maybe the baseball field problem will help itself and we can still keep our baseball athletes here. Maybe we can, but having some of that information, we may be able to say, okay, this might be a more reasonable number to go in at. I'm not ready to say we're going to, move things off campus without having actual numbers.
I'm not asking anyone to move anything off campus. I'm asking to query other people in different organizations in the town to see if they are open to it. The basic premise here that I keep hearing over and over, that people are convinced that this failed because of the 7.1 number. I am not convinced of that at all. I think this had value and design problems that had to be dealt with. Load, value, and design problems. If you think, and the people on the committee think that this is just a number thing, people that want to spend over a certain number for this project, then everybody can vote the way they want and this thing can move forward. That's fine. I am not of that opinion in the least.
We seem to recall Mr. Wood with these big signs at 7.1 is too much. And it seems to recall some meetings, Mr. Quinn, where you said you were fiscally responsible for the thing that you had to do as a school committee member when we spent with the finance committee to talk about bringing the costs down. So this is a complete 180 from what you were saying before. There's certainly a very strong those signs, and we can see that that was a major thing for people.
That was one, he's one vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joyce.
That's okay.
Okay.
So this, maybe I missed this, but the proposal from Flansburgh for $9,800 to cost it out, aren't they kind of coming in from this, did we ask people to submit proposals for this? Don't we have to glean like more than one opinion on something like this? At what number do we have to put this out basically for bid? I don't know why we picked on Flansburgh particularly.
Well, for general procurement, it's $50,000. Anything over $50,000, you have to go out to bid. For design services, there's a dollar figure as well. This is costing out the components, so it's not, doesn't involve any of the real design work.
Okay, so it's costing out and I would think that SMMA, who worked on this a lot, may have those figures anyway, or do they? Have we asked them for them? Have we asked for a breakdown from them over what they gave us as a whole?
That wasn't included in there. They were just to the master planning phase and the magnitude of cost.
But you don't feel that they might even know them anyway? I mean, they do a lot of stuff. I mean, they knew pretty close to things that we did. Not that I'm saying that they're the best or I'm choosing them or anything, but do we have to do more than say, we have a proposal from this one company? And I wasn't, usually people will come in with a lot of stuff because they want to get the project at some point. So I don't know where this proposal came from and how we got it from them. I don't know how we got that, how we arrived at this point to vote on spending $10,000 basically. Let's use round numbers, it's easier. Which I'm assuming we would take out of E&D or capital or something like that.
Building mental well. We're at a crossroads in our budget. Either we put the improvements that we need to make to the field in the budget, which will go into the assessment, or we try to take a different route.
And do we have a number on what that repair would be at this point?
We're still getting costs, looking at, I brought my paper, but it's up over to $500,000 right now. And some of the things haven't been costed out, so I mean, it's, whatever the will of the committee is, but.
Again, I mean, we need figures because we can't say, we don't want to get into the repair and just, if that's what we did, get into repair and discover that, we have to go down 16 feet to get to a substrate or something.
Right.
So we need more solid information.
We are getting them, but it's a slow process.
Right.
Ask them to come and give you a cost and keep calling them back. It takes time.
Right. Where they're, so.
It's an unfortunate situation.
In
Right now, I
case,
can tell you, it's snowing really hard out.
It's only 1-2 inches.
So Flansburgh is engaged in, right now they're doing Tewksbury, who has a school and a field project going on. They are involved in other projects. So we're sort of trying to leverage what they're already doing for other groups and getting those costs, and then we're just sort of copying and pasting. The other, and I completely lost my train of thought. I had something. Maybe after Beth, you wanted to speak, so go ahead, and maybe I'll get my train of thought back, so go for it.
Beth, you might come up to the podium.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
When people speak, if you don't mind.
Sorry.
When people speak from their seats, we can't hear it on the...
And identify yourself.
So I just wanted to ask, after what you sent to the first company, and they gave you magnitude numbers, right, the high end, I feel like it would be so much cheaper to go back to them and say, now can we have some real numbers so that you guys can all decide what you want? And if it's baseball on campus is what you want, then what gives, right? But wouldn't it be a lot cheaper than spending another 10 grand? They should be able to give you realer numbers.
It wasn't in their scope of services, so we
No,
didn't.
but you could expand that scope.
They would charge us for it.
We could ask them how much.
Let's ask them how much, because they're already familiar with our project. We don't really care what they're doing at Tewksbury, okay, or at North Middlesex or anything. We want to know what they're going to do here. And this sounds like they're going to have to start from scratch because they don't know the situation or what the whole thing was. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, the master plan is a public document. They were able to go off of that. They would be able to go off of that. And again, it's not, they're not designing, they're not, developing the blueprints here. They're just saying, yes, this is how much it costs, if you do these different, pick these different elements, or don't pick them, or 400 versus 500. So that's sort of where they're headed. Mr. Yoakum, you had a question, if you don't mind coming up, please, or comment.
First off, I appreciate the fact that a lot of people put a lot of time into developing this plan. I think there's a little credibility. First, also, there's some very valid points in it. Most importantly, the safety aspect. There's some steel grates there that kids should not be getting their heads on. The good news is there's some fairly straightforward solutions to those problems. Put rubber mats over them. Go on the web and find $55. Not a big deal. Clearly things that need to be done. Also, big rocks, by the tools. They've been addressed before. Blow them up, pull them out. Not a deal. So it seems like there's also a bit of a credibility problem here as much as during the presentations with the community we're told it's all or nothing. It's a $7.1 million project, or it's dead, gone, it will never rise again. Kind of feels like the South will rise again. That's like, I hear people saying we're going to spend $10,000 to get better numbers. That seems like good money after bad. So I really firmly think that the safety issue should be addressed. Seems like that should be a light money. And if someone wants to come forward and give us, hundreds of thousands of dollars for bathrooms or bleachers or whatever, fabulous. But barring that, I think we should probably not have any more committees. The voters have spoken, done deal, fix the safety issues, move on.
Okay. I just, go ahead, I'll leave.
No, I was going to say, it may have been presented that this was our plan. This was our $7.1 million plan. We did not have a plan B, but it certainly was never said that we wouldn't be pursuing something beyond. Oh, well, no, so what we're after is the safety of our students and giving our athletes the best possible athletic experience they could have. Right now, what we have is inadequate for any of our sports.
I fully agree that the safety issue should be addressed.
Okay, well.
And I think that can be done for surprisingly light money.
Okay. It's more than the safety issues. It's getting adequate facilities for the use that we have. So I apologize if that's the impression that you were left with, but. Well.
We were told there was no plan B.
There was no plan B.
Because there was no plan B. It was, the proposal put forward solved all of the identified needs, right? We talked very early on in the Fields Committee, we talked about, do we do this phased approach? We decided no. We figured taxpayer fatigue, voter fatigue, let's get it all done at once. So we scrapped plan B, because if you give people two options and one's cheaper, they're going to typically vote for the cheaper one, correct? So that's why we scrapped it. We said no plan B, here's what it is. But the problem is now we still have a 50-year-old facility with all these ADA issues, fields that are overused, and again, so you talked about throwing good money after bad, right? We are probably, and I don't want to put words in Dr. Malone's mouth, but the quick fix on getting these fields back is sodding them, right? So do you spend maybe $100,000 to re-sod a field to get it back playable and then just start overusing it again? Or do you say, let's take a step back, let's go, all right, if we install the synthetic turf field, now we can get more use out of it and we don't have to worry about playing conditions. That's what we're trying to solve all at once.
Joyce would like to speak.
Yes. Go ahead, Joyce. And then,
I think we need to move forward. And so the consideration now is, what's on the table is the proposed information, not of the costs of of what various things could be done that were in the master plan to see if there's some way we could trim it, massage it. I'm assuming that's where you're planning to go. I am worried that we need to choose, I'm worried about how we would choose who would do that. Then, of course, the second subject, because I think I was not crazy about the Plansburg report. I've made this known, and I think that's almost too cheap for what we need to know. I don't think it may not give us the detail that we want, so that kind of worries me. And then we have to decide what we're going to do now for the track. Resurfacing is obviously not it, and, but we need these numbers first, and then we see where we can go. I'm not sure that's the best place to get the numbers from. I would be very nervous to vote for this number and not have it be big enough to get the information that we really need. I don't know where that number came from, and $9,800. I know what these guys cost, so I know what their offices look like. That's pretty slight to really get a good breakdown from them. SMMA, who was part of the master plan, I think we should ask them what they would charge, because they already know all the detail. They don't have to restudy it. So.
When's our next meeting?
February 12th.
So.
I mean, technically, we have meetings next 2 Mondays, but Monday and Tuesday, but our our agenda is the 12th.
Could we ask SMMA what that would cost from them? Because I think we do need to make a decision about,
because they're familiar with it, and you have to know that all along they were knowing that stuff.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Are you all set, Beth, or did you want to?
Well, I just have a question. I just wonder what the fastest way to move forward is, and I don't know the answer to it, but is there no longer a committee or is the faster way to go with a quick committee, revise the plan, and bring it to the town at a special meeting, or is the faster way for you guys to do it?
Right, and it's going to be probably the latter, is us getting more information. The field committee probably won't meet or do anything. They haven't been disbanded yet, but it'll probably be sort of us seeing where SMA comes in and then going from there. I think that's really, because again, we do have some needs, whether or not we decide to pursue the full package, or we do just decide to sod for a year and limp by, or whatever, right? We do need some costs as to what those are, the other thing, and this is where I had lost my train of thought, was how do we build this funding package to fund the whole thing, right? So we could use some E&D money, perhaps. We have our pledge, not a donation anymore. We have capital stabilization. And then we have a possible chance at another debt exclusion vote in Shirley. If we can provide some more information and provide that better funding package, we can certainly ask that question. So that's sort of what all these cost estimates will allow us to do, is put that funding package together, figure it out.
I think that's a good approach.
All right. So somewhat related to that is the designer selection law. This designer selection law, there is no cost associated with it right now. We're adopting MGL 7 Chapter 7C, subsections 44 through 58. So you do have it in your packet. This is just sort of the rules that we will play by and that our suppliers will play by. Correct, Dr. Miller?
This is if it comes to the point where if the field project goes through and you have to go up with design, the school committee has to adopt this general law. Unlike with the MSBA, you didn't have to adopt it.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
we're actually adopting the procedures. The law provides that we have to, the governing body has to adopt these procedures before you engage with the designer.
What procedures?
So it's something, if you adopt it now, you always have it. You don't have to, this was advised by Attorney Bresnahan, that he gave us advice that before you leave to go out, you could go out for the designer services for anything, you'd have to adopt this. And we had asked, so we did some research to see if it ever had been adopted by the school committee, it has not been.
So this wasn't used when we selected this MMA?
No, because that wasn't, this is actual to do the whole, do the design of the project and do the work.
Because you realize that...
After it's funded, so preliminary design work and estimation is not a part of this?
No, this would be for us to, so if the project had passed, we were going to put out an RFP.
We wouldn't have been able to accept.
We wouldn't have been able to if the school had adopted this, right.
So I'm a little confused here, and what you just said, Bill. So do we actually have to, so you divide the designer law, and then it says that we have to have some written procedures that we follow.
That's included in the packet. That's actually, there's 4 pages, it's 22.
You know how I'm lost tonight.
22
I'll find
bullets.
it, don't worry about it. Right.
And that is the template that the...
Okay, so we're not just adopting the law, but we're adopting that template also.
The procedures is a template from the state that adheres to the requirements of MGL C7.
Right.
So if you follow these rules when you're going out to bid or going out for qualifications, then you'll be adhering to the law in your eyes.
So then also, that doesn't, it says designer selection, so that doesn't cover the other things like when you have someone doing construction and stuff. Is there another law that we need to adopt that goes into that, or was that adopted when we did the middle school? I'm not sure we did it. Everything that we did for this school was under the state, so the state handled all of that.
That it may be the same outfit, but you may have another RFQ for the construction piece of it.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
But the design services could include construction.
Oh, it can?
It could, yes.
Okay. All right, I see construction. Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept the designer selection law, MLG Chapter 7C, subsection 44 to 55, with attaching the bullets that we have for the procedures for that.
Can I just have a friendly amendment? It's 44 to 58.
I'm sorry.
And it's MGL, not MLG.
I said the
Hey, those are my
Massachusetts general law.
That's fine, all right.
Wait till I get to reading announcements. You want
Oh, boy. All right.
See bad? Wait.
Motion.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
With the friendly amendment.
With the corrections I will accept from Michelle.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, thank you. Dr. Malone, your superintendent's report.
I'm going to respectfully request that I defer these to the next meeting in the interest of time and the weather.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, so I will go quickly. Under ongoing business, number 9B, I think we've discussed that, rolled up real quick, so we'll skip that. Just Dr. Malone's summative evaluation. We'll do, so Dr. Malone, first off, I want to thank you for your patience with me as I put this together and spend some time meeting with you. Certainly, we were all very busy between the holidays and getting this all done, so I appreciate your patience with me getting this through. So I'll read the summative letter. In your packets is the summative full evaluation. But, Dr. Malone, on behalf of the Air Shirley Regional School Committee, I am pleased to present you with this end-of-cycle summative evaluation for school year 2017-2018. Your overall rating is proficient per your contract. This entitles you to a 3% salary increase for fiscal year 2020, effective July 1st, 2019. Thank you for your efforts of yourself and your team to put together materials supporting your accomplishments over the last school year. Evaluations were completed by 3 members of the school committee and myself. Another member chose to submit feedback but did not use the MA DESI form in their efforts, thus their feedback is not used to determine your overall rating. Your overall rating of proficient was achieved by aggregating the scores in each criterion on the MA DESI forms which I received. 3 members rated your overall performance as proficient, while 1 member rated you as exemplary. A summary MA DESI evaluation form with all of the feedback is attached for your review.
While your overall rating is proficient, there are many indicators where you scored exemplary. The indicators in which you scored exemplary include, but are not limited to, data-informed decision-making, fiscal systems, family and community engagement, and communication. On behalf of the committee, I thank you for your continued efforts to drive the district forward in growth and achievement. I believe this assessment is a reflection of your impact on the district's most important customers, the students who choose to call the schools of the Air Shirley Regional School District home. Sincerely, Jonathan DeForge. So again, thank you very much for your efforts this year, over the last year and multiple years. Okay. All right. So moving on, policy subcommittee items, there were none. Chairman's notes, I did include your packet, a letter that was written to the boards of selectmen in both towns, just sort of indicating what some of our next steps would be with the Fields project, also the letter that was included from bond council. So that was sent out just prior to the new year. Other topics not reasonably anticipated, I don't have any. Communications, Joyce, you are up for announcements.
Can I just ask that you said you sent a letter out to the Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
From you concerning the Fields Committee or from the committee concerning the Fields Committee?
It's that right there. It was just basically, it was from Dr. Malone and myself.
I just read it. No, I just read it.
And so it was just a point of just sort of explain, we wanted to give them a copy of the letter that we had received from bond council, and that sort of summarizing what we discussed at our December meeting, that, we instructed Dr. Malone to continue to look at costs, because we've spent the last year and a half to 2 years talking about all the deficiencies, safety and condition-wise, in our fields, and just trying to, keep them abreast of what we're doing.
Okay.
So are you up for announcements? Ready?
Sure.
Go for it.
Okay, I think I'm going to skip today because it's already over. The progress reports were issued today for grades preschool through 5, and there was a kindergarten evening informational session, which probably got...
These are all tomorrow.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
Still happens.
I told you it was going to be bad. Wednesday, January 3rd, progress reports will be issued tomorrow on grades, I never know what day it is, grades preschool through 5, and tomorrow night there's a kindergarten evening informational session from 6 to 7 at the Page Hilltops Cultural Arts Center. Thursday, January 31st, preschool evening informational session, 6 to 7 at Laura A. White Library. I hope those are well attended. We have a very good preschool and kindergarten groups. Monday, February 4th, report cards issued grades 6 to 12. So what that mean on the sign when it said report cards went home? On the sign in the front of the school. It said report cards issued already, so.
Maybe it said
in neon.
Issued December,
No, it just said issued, so. Monday, February 4th, Air Shirley FY20 budget presentation to Town of Shirley Board of Selectmen Finance Committees at 6 o'clock at the Shirley Town Hall. Tuesday, February 5th, Air Shirley FY20 budget presentation to the Town of Air Board of Selectmen and Finance Committees, 6:30, Air Town Hall.
Joyce, just a clarification that the air is at 7:30.
Oh, it's at 7:30? The correction on Tuesday, the Air Shirley at Air, Town of Air will be at 7:30 at the Air Town Hall. Thursday, February 7th, kindergarten morning informational session from 9:15 to 10:15 at the Laura A. White Library. Thursday, February 7th, half-day school for grades 6 to 8 and evening parent conferences. Thursday, February 7th, evening parent conferences for grades 8 to 12. Friday, February 8th, preschool morning informational session, 9:15 to 10:15 a.m. at the Page Hilltop Cultural Center. Friday, February 8th also is half-day school for grades 6 to 8 and afternoon parent conferences. Monday, February the 11th, grade 8 students will visit the Air Shirley Regional High School. More details will follow from high school principal Mr. Christie and middle school principal Ms. Aiken from 11:30 to 1:30. Tuesday, February 12th, Regional School Committee meeting, 6:30, right here at the LGI room. Wednesday, February 13th, grade 8 parents will visit Air Shirley Regional High School. More details will follow from high school principal Mr. Christie and middle school principal Ms. Aiken from 6 to 8. I think that was very successful last year. Both of those things worked really well from what I heard. Monday, February 18th, no school President's Day. Tuesday, February 19th through Friday, February 22nd, no school February vacation.
Great. All right, we do have need for executive session tonight, so with that, I will take a roll call vote to enter into for negotiations. I will take a roll call vote to enter into executive session, and when we leave executive session, it will be simply for the purpose of adjourning the general session meeting. So, Ms. Reschutz?
First Reschutz, aye.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle Granger, aye.
Jonathan DeForge, aye.
Cheryl Simmons, aye.
All right, we are in executive session at 9:16. Thank you all very much.
Jonathan?